The action section of the unit is probably your most practical session. This is your guide to what the daily experiences for your students are going to be. So let's just take a look at each box of the action section first. The content box, this is where you can list your specific content for an activity, content-based questions. Remember when we looked at inquiry questions, we said some questions are more content-based. This is where you would put them. You can also put, if you need to address local standards, this is where you can put those local standard guidelines right here in this box. I recommend adding an approaches to learning box where you write down what approaches to learning you're going to be focusing on in the unit and how you're going to be doing that by activity. In the learning experience box, this is where you provide the details about what the students are going to do. You also should consider how prior knowledge is utilized, when your inquiry questions are explored, and when the key and related concepts are explored in the unit. The next two boxes may be the most important. Formative assessments. You really do need to include a description of each formative task that you're going to do in a unit. In that description, always considering what students need to know, understand, and do. Being specific about the unit's concepts and context, the formative assessments should be addressing that. Considering how this teaching and assessing is informing the learning of the students and how this is informing your teaching, that cycle is really important. And also note what kind of feedback you're giving to the students along the way. The last box is differentiation. It's really important for each formative task, for each activity, that you are providing details about how you would or could differentiate the assignment. Consider both learning styles and preferences, how you support language learners, and how you promote the gaining of skills. In your workbook on the page, there is a link to some ideas for differentiation. Now let's talk about how it could look on the planner. What I really like is using what we call the tilted unit planner, where we actually write put those columns across from each other, and then we kind of put a grid line so that your content, your learning experiences, your formative assessment are all in line. So it's the same content for the formative assessment, all in line with each other. And again, I like to add the ATL skill that's a focus for that row, if you would. And here's a little example. I will, in my sample units that I'm providing for you, you will see some other examples of this in the units, and probably better examples than this one, just so you get an idea of how the content builds upon each other and how that each row really is a lesson plan.